Am I the a-hole for ruining my niece's birth over a name? Hi. All names have been changed for obvious reasons. I, 29 female, was pregnant with my twins a few years ago. Unfortunately, only one baby survived. A little boy who we called Henry. And my daughter passed, we called her Daphne. Now, me and my sister were closer growing up, but we drifted apart. And there was rivalry on her part after I met my partner. For example, she hated that we got engaged before her. She has been with her partner for 3+ more years. And she threw a fit saying she wouldn't attend our wedding unless she was engaged too. They had an engagement as he wanted a happy life, and she threw an engagement party on the night before my wedding. When I announced my pregnancy, she wasn't happy, as I'd done another thing before her. But when my daughter died, she seemed to become a lot nicer. And because of this change, we made her Henry's godparent. She became pregnant recently and refused to announce a name until a few days after birth. The baby girl was called Theodora, which is beautiful. I was bringing presents to her, and then saw my dad building a huge toy box with Daphne on it. When I questioned, I was told the baby's called Daphne, and only Theodora in paper, that no one will use full name, only her nickname. All my family knew and supported her. I got upset and started shouting, asking if it was a cruel prank. She came out and told me to buzz off, that I don't own a name and she liked it since my baby's funeral. My family are on her side and say, why do I care? My baby's not here, so there is no confusion. I don't see why cause a scene and ruin a happy time, and why can't I be happy for her? That I'm petty and cruel, and they want me to apologize, but I don't want to. Edit. Thank you for so many kind responses. To answer, I will not be reaching out to any of the family anytime soon. Also, to clear up some questions asked, I do think she was happy in my misfortune. Hindsight is great. I did not want to think the worst at the time, but I was very, very ill. Doctor told my husband I may die, so they delivered the children early. She told him she could take the babies if I died, as he could not cope alone. Fortunately, I survived, but I lost my child in the process. I do think she felt happy in this to see me suffer. She has always had a rivalry with me. I do not understand why. I don't make anything a competition, but she always has been a golden child. When I started dating my partner, she took him away from dancing with me at my birthday to tell him she thinks he would be better suited with someone like her, not like me. That she takes better care of her looks, has a better job. She does not think my job counts as it is working with disabled children, etc. She was also in a relationship at the time, so she always made it known I do not deserve the things I have. I would not say she wants to be me though. We have very different lives and look different, and she has not tried to copy my looks or career. Only things like men, marriage, babies, house, etc. Which I believe is more to want me than to be me, if this makes sense. Our family think she is an angel, and are very vocal on social media how beautiful and successful she is in all her endeavors, baby included. I do not get this, but I stopped caring a long time ago. I have come to terms with it, and I no longer feel like I need a negativity in my life and will stop flogging a dead horse, if that is the right expression. Now for the top comments. So not Dayhall. Especially her saying that she liked the name since your daughter's funeral. From all the names in the world, she chose this one. And the worst part is, it's not even the official name for the baby. I wonder if she didn't choose that name to hurt you. If I were you, I'd tell her to get lost and I would cut contact with her. She sounds toxic. Seriously, what the hell is this sick, twisted crap right here? Sister is disgusting, and OP is not Dayhall. I'm just about the least superstitious person on the planet, but naming your baby after a dead baby just sounds like you're tempting fate. Not Dayhall. What a cruel and tasteless thing to do. Throw the whole family away. Disgusting behavior. I'm sorry for your loss, and that you have to deal with such Nahal family. I lost a baby myself during pregnancy. It's a wound that will stay forever. Even though we weren't able to get to know them, they were/are still here. It's a complete different situation than when people call dibs on names. I'm sorry. I hope you can find peace far away from those people you have to call family. P.S. As it sounds, your sister was only suddenly nice to you after your loss so she can shine. Look at me, how much I care and do. She's the biggest a-hole. I also think one of the other comments was right in thinking that the sister enjoyed seeing something bad happen to OP. She couldn't be kind or supportive when she saw OP as winning, but she was happy to play perfect sister as long as she was sure Opie was suffering. She liked it since my baby's funeral. How does a person not stop and reevaluate their entire existence after something so grisly comes out of their mouth? Not the a-hole. That line in Opie's post made my jaw drop. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for how I reacted when my husband said he won't be with me when I give birth? My husband, male 33 and I, female 26, are expecting our first baby together. I have a scheduled C-section on Sunday, and my husband said he can't be there with me because he has a business trip that he'll be leaving for Saturday evening. He said he couldn't skip the trip even if he tried, and claimed that because he missed several work trips in the past 6 months, he's worried he might lose his job if he declined to go. I asked him if he could explain to them that you have a valid reason not to come, but he said his boss doesn't listen and doesn't care. The problem is that this is my first time, and like any other woman, I wanted my husband to be there with me as support. His excuse was that I have an entire medical team. It is not like this was a natural birth because I will be under anesthesia. He suggested I take my mom or his mom with me, but as a father I expected him to be the first person to want to welcome our son, even if he couldn't be in the room. He said if he stayed there wasn't much he was going to do since again, I'll have doctors and nurses taking care of me. But if he goes on this trip, then he'll bring home money to support us. But I told him emotional support can never be replaced if my own husband won't be there to provide it for me. He clearly got upset over me continuously bringing this up, and this morning we had an argument where he called me selfish and making him look like a bad husband/dad, and accusing him of not caring about meeting his baby when he's trying to support us. I got mad at him for calling me that, and mentioned he had no consideration for how I feel about this, and acting like my concerns weren't valid. He said he got sick of arguing and got his phone and keys and about to leave. Before he left, he said I shouldn't worry because I won't die, which was a rude thing to say, given that I have my own concerns since this is my first time. He texted me apologizing for what he said, but said I kept pressuring him, knowing his circumstances. Edited to add, the previous trips he missed were over his friend's wedding, his brother's welcoming party, and his cousin's trip. If he could skip work trips for these reasons, then I wonder why his child's birth isn't necessary enough for him to stay. Not day hall. There's more afoot here. If you were able to schedule your delivery, then he had advance notice of the timing and should have the time off already. And if it was last minute, like a natural delivery is, his employer knows that it's coming. And you don't need him just for the delivery, but for everything else that goes with it. Getting there, any prep that goes on, the delivery, and after delivery, the first days at home. I usually make a plea for fixing relationships, but this would be a deal breaker for me. If he truly believes delivery and infant care is something he can handle alone, then I think I'd call his bluff and change the locks. Yeah, strikes me as something more going on, too. Why is he prioritizing work so hard now? Because work is code for girlfriend would be my guess. Not the a-hole. Is he curing cancer? President of the United States' favorite bodyguard? Flying a shuttle to an asteroid heading for Earth in a last-ditch attempt to drill a hole, embed a nuclear warhead to break it up, and hopefully save all of mankind? If his job is nothing like that, he needs to find a spine and a new employer. This is a scheduled C-section, so he's known for at least, 1-2 months? It's a major surgery. He should be there and has had plenty of time to stand up for himself and, frankly, start job hunting. This is the kind of scenario that usually puts things in perspective for people. Because the issue isn't just whether or not he's there for the birth of his child, it's a matter of the kind of father he's going to be. Somehow I bet the employer does not know. Most employers/bosses try to keep these kinds of things in mind. This would be divorce level for me. No time for someone who doesn't prioritize their family in literally the most important day of their lives. Honestly, this was kind of my dad, and I don't think my mom ever really forgave him for it. In their case, not birth, but I was hospitalized with the flu when I was 2, and my dad, 1, didn't cut his work trip short, and 2, didn't come to the hospital right away when he did get home, instead going straight to work to finish out the workday. He also decided not wanting to get fired. They didn't divorce, but they may as well have, the way they are now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my son out? My 64 male 21-year-old son, his then girlfriend, and their baby daughter recently moved to my city from out of state. I live in an expensive urban area, so I welcomed them with open arms into my home while they got situated. Everything was going smoothly, until 2 months in and my son was arrested on a probation violation on an underlying robbery charge. Although my son has a spotty criminal history that has caused some tension in our family in the past, his robbery charge is far and above anything he's ever done, and it puts a very bad taste in my mouth. He's often careless, a bit selfish, and can be very immature at times, hence the probation violation. I was very angry at him when it happened, I still am, for throwing away his life and putting his girlfriend and my grandkid into a very difficult spot. His girlfriend broke up with him while he was being held in jail, and I also told him that he was not welcomed back into my home. It has been roughly a year, and my son has been released from jail. My grandkid and his ex-girlfriend still live with me, as I love having them here, and I've come to love my grandkid's mother as my own daughter. I'm more than happy to help her with childcare and housing, especially because it's not her fault that my son made poor decisions that affected her. However, my son has nowhere to go. He has been couch surfing from friend's house to friend's house since his release, and has had some trouble finding work. He's very upset that I chose his ex and my grandkid over him, and is angry that I won't move him back into my house. If I move him into my house, my grandkid and his ex will need to move out, and I don't want that to happen. I've been standing my ground and not letting him back to my house. However, I'm beginning to wonder if I was too harsh on him. Now for the comments. Not today, Hall. His ex is family now, by blood. The son is ruining the vibe. He needs to man up. And you raised better. That's part of it. I was really out of the picture his whole life until he was in jail on the robbery charge, so I feel sort of like I owe him a place to stay since. But the grandkid and the mom are more important. The son may need help, but how can you help if he's bad with money? I kicked my friend out because of aggravated battery. You can't have that around the grandkid until he mans up. You're totally not an a-hole. Right now, if he can't get a job, it's because he doesn't want to. Everywhere is desperate. Could be the criminal record is hindering him, as well as his attitude. As someone with a felony, no, it ain't. The vast majority of kitchen jobs are now 15 plus an hour in places with a 7.25 minimum wage. There's very few kitchen jobs that background check. I don't know how active his job search has been. He has a bad record, but just 2 felonies, and he has kitchen work on his resume. Not today, Hall. Your grandchild is your priority, and that means prioritizing their primary caregiver, as in your son's ex. Your son is a grown man. He'll figure something out. I also feel kind of responsible for him because he's never really had to fend for himself before. And on top of that, I'm the one who convinced him to move to a whole new state, so he doesn't have many connections. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that she's the pregnant one? My 17 male sister, 19 female, went to a party and got pregnant. My parents, 42 female and 46 male, have been supportive and helpful throughout the entire thing. We have an adopted sister, 15 female. She was adopted because my mom's friend was fostering her and heard my mom had shared medical vulnerabilities. And when my mom talked to her about it, she realized how much she's been through, and after asking us, adopted her. Now, she is a really sweet person. It has always been really nice to us, but my sister has been tolerant of her at best. Yet when she got pregnant, things changed fast. She's just a jerk to me in general, with demanding things and acting like she owns the place and is my boss or something. But to our adopted sister, she doesn't mind throwing insults or being even more jerkish to her because she's too nice and scared to say no. She also makes fun of her for asking to sleep near or in the same bed as my mom on some days because of PTSD. I don't know what it was today, but when she started yelling at my adopted sister for not grabbing her water fast enough, I told her that, you're the pregnant one here. You chose to get with and get pregnant by some irresponsible deadbeat. I didn't choose to be your brother, nor did she choose to be your sister. So you can do things your freaking self. She retorted that she's the one dealing with all the stress of supporting it, and the one preparing herself for labor, which she already feared, and just dealing with hormones. I responded with, how do you think she, adopted sister, feels being in pain and dealing with trauma, and then having to deal with your sorry self? How do you think I feel knowing if something happens, I'm going to feel morally obligated to take care of my niece all because your stupid self couldn't be responsible? She told us to get out, and now I feel I may have gone overboard. Not the a-hole. Your sister is definitely the a-hole in the scenario. She's 19, you're 17, and your adopted sister is 15. Do your parents know that your older sister is tormenting your younger sister? Have you talked to your parents about this behavior / your concerns? Your sister is going to have to deal with the consequences of her actions. That doesn't include a free pass to treat others badly, and both of you are well within your rights to put up boundaries and maintain them. She isn't entitled to your help. You engaged in what I call word vomit, and it commonly happens when you tolerate bad behavior for so long without saying anything. Sometimes it just spills out of you. Resentment and bullying can definitely lead to these emotional explosions. While it's not kind to say hurtful things to others, it's often the result of allowing them to treat you badly for far too long. It's time to put your foot down and stop allowing your sister to get away with her behavior. Pregnancy has nothing to do with it. Not the a-hole. You need to sit down with your mother and tell her exactly how your sister is treating your youngest sibling. This kid has been through enough trauma without a spoiled oldest deciding that she is now a personal house servant. Not the a-hole. I don't care if you're pregnant or not. Who the heck taunts someone with trauma? Sounds like pregnant sister is an emotional vomiter. She's stressed, can't deal with it, and throwing her garbage on everyone else. It's hard being pregnant, I get it, but find help. Mistreating family will get you nowhere and a lot less support. Not the a-hole. Good for you standing up for younger sister. Maybe you went too far? However, if your sister's behavior is that bad, then she deserved it. Standing up for yourself or others that are being harassed is never a bad thing. Where are your parents in all this? I would definitely make sure they know she's tormenting your younger sister.